I was 21, an INTJ, living through the worst period of my life. Let's just say I had lost hope in everything. And then came the one answer that changed my life forever. Let's talk for a second, shall we? Just you and me. I need to ask you the same question, and I want you to really think about it. What is the meaning of life? Yeah, I know. That's a heavy question, and it's probably not the first time you've heard it. But I need you to sit with it for a minute. Let's be real here. How many times have you looked around and thought, what is the meaning of all this? When you're wandering through life, doing your daily activities. Sounds familiar? You see people chasing trends, talking like they've figured everything out. And there you are, standing on the sidelines, thinking, there must be a deeper meaning to life. Or maybe you say to yourself, I don't have the same interests. That's exactly what I was feeling during that period. Without even realizing it, I was building this story in my head that nothing was really interesting enough to look up to. And every now and then, I would ask myself the same question. What is the meaning of life? Why am I so bored? What is holding me back? I told myself life was not fair, that no one understood me. I had no hope left in anything. The dark thoughts were endless. I tried to silence them with every possible distraction, but each time they came back stronger. I became aggressive toward people, especially those closest to me, as if I was trying to push them away, because if they got too close, they might see how vulnerable I really was. Life grew darker and darker with each passing day, and as I was dragged slowly toward rock bottom, I started spending more time alone, with my thoughts and with one specific book. The truth is, during that period, I turned to reading. I wanted to figure out life through the lens of those who came before me. I was drawn to politics. Ever since childhood, something about power and authority fascinated me. But the book I was reading wasn't just any book. It was The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, one of the most controversial works on power and politics. That book was a complete shock to my beliefs about the great figures of history. It reinforced the idea that life is not fair. It fueled my hatred toward people even more. And then, one night, after spending 6 hours reading, it hit me. The answer that changed my life forever. Ready? Here it is. If life has no meaning, then I am free to do anything. I know. It sounds crazy, maybe even narcissistic, and it definitely is. But here's the truth. At that point in my life, simple advice from a casual conversation wasn't enough. I had already reached rock bottom. The answer had to align with my state of mind, the dark thoughts that had overtaken me. And it did. It gave me the answer to my question by changing the question itself. By acknowledging that life has no inherent meaning, I finally found a way to pull myself out of my feelings and start actually living. But of course, this isn't the end of the story. As I entered the game of life, the real answers began to unfold. The first lesson I need you to hear, and really let it sink in, is this. No one is born knowing their life purpose. Do you think all those great people throughout history had it figured out from the start? No. They were just as unsure as you are right now. They were lost. They didn't have all the answers. So what's the difference? They found their way. They moved forward despite their doubts, despite the unanswered questions. Because here's the truth. They didn't wait to find meaning in life. They created it. And that only happens when you take the first step. When you start playing the game of life. And instead of hating the game, you treat it like a master. One that puts you through hardships to teach you lessons. The second lesson I had to learn, the hard way, was that the narcissistic state I was in was destroying everything I was building. My work, my relationships, my family and friends. Everything was crumbling. Life taught me a harsh lesson. Everything that lasts must be built on a strong foundation, not on lies and suppression. At the same time, as Machiavelli warned, those who are always merciful or kind risk being dominated by the ruthless, because people often mistake softness for weakness. So I had to find the perfect balance between my emotions and my mind, to think about the long-term consequences of my actions. And that's when I reached the state of rationality, the state that lifted me from nothing to a manager position with a family of 2 kids at the age of 28. And I'm not planning on stopping here.